Welcome back to Talking Comics with Heroes and Villains. I'm Eric, and this is
Arnie?
We're not in superhero shirts today. It feels weird. I feel naked.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Superman in Action Comics, which we're reviewing today. Here's the cover. Isn't in his costume either. He's wearing jeans and work boots and Dickies, and he's all new. And Arnie, what's new with good old Clark Kent?
Everything.
Yeah.
They decided to give him a pretty strange update in a way. I had problems with his secret identity and his costume before, because the only thing that differentiated him from his alter ego was a pair of glasses.
And a spit curl. He would tuck it back behind the ear.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
And now he's just wearing a t-shirt and a cape.
Much like Superboy from the cartoon.
Yeah. And when he turns into Clark Kent, he gets the glasses, but he messes up his hair.
Well, it's young Superman though too. He's like early 20s, right? In the city.
Yeah.
He's a journalist working for a newspaper, which you can talk about because it's hilarious.
Yeah,
he's very modernized now, except for this.
They've decided to change all kinds of aspects of Superman. Like he can bleed now. He gets tired. He gets bruises on his face. You know, they changed his powers a little bit, but they gave him the same job as before. Which today, you know, if you're gonna update his job, dude, because really the newspaper industry is struggling, and you know, as fictitious as it is to be working for a newspaper and making a living at the same time, in Metropolis somehow there's more than one newspaper. There's two newspapers, and he happens to work at the competing one with the Daily Planet.
The thing that I love about this is that he's literally a baby that was put in a rocket and shot off into space, and it just happened to hit like the only habitable world in the universe. And like that's not far-fetched, but to Arnie, the fact that he works for a paper,
what?
Like not that he can fly, not that he has like heat vision.
You know how unrealistic it is to be making a living in a newspaper today?
Do all your friends have like Arctic Breath and like Bizarro clones and like
make him a blogger, man, at least.
Oh, it's so funny. Comic fans are so funny.
So yeah, it's just mind-boggling that he's still making an honest living working at a newspaper.
Basically, he's Batmanized too. We see him in this issue threatening the life of a corrupt politician, dangling him by the ankle over a
ledge.
Over a street, and it's a very like kind of cliche Batman thing to do. He's trying to scare the bad guy.
And they took away the whole good guy, very clean cut farmer boy aspect. Yeah. Just the Boy Scout type is no longer there. He's a cocky type of brash individual now.
Well, he's like a working man too now, which is pretty interesting. He wears his Dickies and his blue jeans, his work pants. Like he doesn't fight in like a dancer's ballerina. He looks just like a blue-collar guy, and he fights on behalf of like the working man. One of the things he does is
he's a very Tea Party Superman.
He stops a building from being demolished that's still kind of there's people squatting in it. He saves some squatters and like so he's villain guy who doesn't pay his people well enough. So like Clark threatens his life.
So he's not that much of a Tea Partier.
He's a socialist activist, which is what he was in the beginning too.
And he's actually very much dressed in that way. He's got the jeans and they're rolled up. And then he's got worker boots on, and again, just a t-shirt with an S on it.
And Superman's kind of always been like the socialist working man. Back in the day, his first villains were like guys who charged too much rent, and he beat a wife beater almost to death in like issue 3.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he used to launch people like criminals and punch them into space,
into the ocean, into space. So, yeah. People are kind of losing their minds over it, though. It's a new interpretation of Superman, who's it's a beloved icon to a lot of people. He means a lot to everyone who's read comics. It means a lot to me, personally.
Yeah, and he's also written by one of, like, your personal idols, isn't
Grant Morrison, yeah. Yeah, he's my hero, for sure, as far as, like, my career path. But, yeah, anyway, people are, like, losing their minds over it. There's one guy, it's in North Carolina, he has a shop called Comics Conspiracy, who, in this issue, Clark gets hit by a mortar shell. Like a tank shoots at him. And
it was a street tank.
And he goes, good! And the sound effect is GD exclamation point. And this guy thinks that he was trying to say, like, God dang, or like some kind of take the Lord's name in vain. So he banned the book from his shelves. He said the new Superman is too much of like a rabble-rouser. He's like a young punk kid, and he's being blasphemous. So he's not going to carry Superman in his store, or any Grant Morrison book in his store ever again.
It's not a wise choice to make during the recession.
And a lot of people are getting really bummed out by the new interpretation of Superman. He's very unique.
You know what? I wasn't very impressed. But
because you've seen it before?
No.
He's a Batman kind of
guy? In a way, I think they're trying a little too hard with their flagship character. and you have, you know, the Man of Steel coming out, and I think that they're trying to mesh those two characters together and create this huge explosion of...
It's a sexy Superman. They killed his parents, so there's no more Ma and Pa Kent in their old age. They died when they were still young and hot. So if there's any flashbacks, it's back to like the young... Yeah, exactly. So there's flashbacks to the young parents. There's no old geriatric characters in the book anymore. And because of that, Clark didn't have any guidance when he was older.
It's gonna be awesome.
His parents died like almost at Batman age, so now, yeah, he's kind of just an angry young alien.
And that's the part that kind of gets me, is that Superman's always been the anti-Batman.
Yeah.
And I guess Batman's so cool now that they have to make Superman into Batman as well.
Yeah.
And he's got to have this, you know, trauma in his life. It's not enough that his whole planet was destroyed, along with his birth parents. Now they have to kill his adoptive parents.
Yeah, Clark had a worse tragedy coming up than Bruce ever could imagine, and he still maintains hope. Yeah. And he's still a strong character, and he's just not like whiny about it.
Yeah.
He lost everything, not just his mother and father, but like his planet and his cultural heritage and his identity in a lot of ways. But he's still Superman, and this new Superman is kind of the angry teen goth kid version of that.
Yeah. And we had a video of this before when we reviewed Earth 1 Superman.
That's right,
that's the problem we had with that book, is that they made him into emo, depressed Clark Kent Superman, and it seems like they didn't go that deep in this book, but still he's kind of like a whiny, troubled youth type of Superman.
On the other hand, though, like, you and I are Superman fans and have been for like decades.
Yeah.
This book isn't for us. We're probably going to keep reading it, even though it's not our cup of tea right now. And it's also fun to like watch the rise of this new character. It's the guy that we know he's eventually going to become. He has to get there eventually. Just we're gonna watch that journey. It's very much like Smallville, but this book is for you guys. It's for guys who haven't read comics every day since they were a fetus. It's for people who want to know why you could be that super.
It's a great jumping on point.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get into Superman, into comics, into anything in the DC universe, this is the book to jump on with.
Yeah. If you never liked Superman before, you might like this version, and you might understand that aspect, seeing where he came from now, and seeing like all the trouble he had in his youth, to why he's such a great man at the end.
Yes.
So it's cool. It's cool.
I would check it out. It was a fun read, to tell you the truth. It was just a little disappointing not to see the classic Superman, or any trace for that matter of the classic Superman in this new incarnation, and it makes me a little sad, and it's a little bit of a mourning period, but it's still a good read.
It was shocking, but all great art is. So check it out. I recommend it. And Arnie does too, in his deep little black shriveled heart. Yeah, so read it. Let us know what you think, if you're into the commie Kryptonian or not. And yeah, give us a buzz at facebook.com/heroesandvillains Tucson. You should probably see down here right now. Or at Twitter too, at HNV Comics.
Thank you for joining us again, and have a good week.